Our passage today continues the series of discussions that Jesus was having with the Pharisees and the lawyers that we heard of in the last couple of days. It's Luke chapter 11, starting at verse 47. Woe to you, for you build the tombs of the prophets whom your ancestors killed. So you are witnesses and approve of the deeds of your ancestors. For they killed them, and you build their tombs. Therefore also the wisdom of God said, I will send them prophets and apostles, some of whom they will kill and persecute, so that this generation may be charged with the blood of all the prophets shed since the foundation of the world, from the blood of Abel to the blood of Zechariah, who perished between the altar and the sanctuary. Yes, I tell you, it will be charged against this generation. Woe to you, lawyers, for you have taken away the key of knowledge. You did not enter the gates yourself, and you hindered those who were entering. When he went outside, the scribes and the Pharisees began to be very hostile towards him and to cross-examine him about many things, lying in wait for him to catch him in something he might say. Last Sunday, I was recording a part of the Remembrance Sunday service that's going to be put on YouTube on the 8th of November. We were standing as people came forward and laid the wreaths at the war memorial. And standing there, put to my mind this first sentence of the passage. Woe to you, for you build the tombs of the prophets whom your ancestors killed. Not that we're killing soldiers again as they were in World War II, but the purpose and intent behind the war is instructive. Between Hitler assuming power in 1933 and the end of the Second World War, Britain gave refuge to 80,000 Jews fleeing war and terror. Today, in contrast, we have a hostile environment that actively dissuades those fleeing war and terror from coming to our shores. And before you accuse me of being party political, I would point out that it was Tony Blair's Labour Party that came up with the term hostile environment, and I'm certain that a Labour government today would be no better in this regard. As I said, this passage is part of an argument that we first heard on Tuesday with Neil House, who I would point out is a lawyer, talking about how Jesus was a bit more aggressive than you might normally think of, challenging the Pharisees on their outward appearance when they are not interested in what happens on the inside of a person. We then heard yesterday from Sue Hayward-Giles talking about the Pharisees and lawyers, being their corrupt and hypocrisy. And this passage continues Jesus' condemnation of the lawyers and religious leaders in saying that they care more about the monuments built for the prophets than for the prophets themselves. After all, Jesus was a prophet, and they wanted to kill him. Now, it's easy for us to distance ourselves from these criticisms and say it's other people, lawyers, it's the government. They're the ones in the wrong. They're the problem. Well, a story. There was once a man who went to his priest. He said, he had this feeling of wanting to be more spiritual, and he was really interested in joining the church, but that he felt all the people in the church were a bunch of hypocrites, and he didn't want to join them. To which the priest replied, "Don't worry, one more hypocrite won't make that much difference." You see, when Jesus calls the lawyers and religious leaders corrupt hypocrites, we need to see it less as a stick to beat others with than as a mirror in which we must look. After all, I'm a church leader. Again and again, Luke uses Jesus' comments as a challenge to who we are. We're invited to bring out from our own dark hearts the things we seek to hide, the secret wrongs we commit, the times that we've been wronged, and where we submerge deep down the anger to fester in darkness. Each thing Jesus invites us to bring into the light of his love, allowing him to speak to our hearts of grace, forgiveness, so that we can then have the strength to confront the evil in others, equally in love. We could reread this passage and see it, instead of as negatives, see them as positives. So, for instance, we care for the ancestors and we celebrate what good has been done in the past, making it our own today. Or, for the lawyers, we have the key of knowledge. We enter into those gates ourselves and we share and enable others from entering too. So before we criticise the government about their hostile environment or lockdown chaos, let us look first into our own hearts and actions and recognise our own culpability in the situation in which we find ourselves. I'll finish with a poem that I found on Facebook a few days ago, which goes to show that there's light even in the darkest places. Many Christians believe that the highest calling God has placed on us is to be nice. They are wrong. God has not called us to be nice. Rather, he has called us to be good. Here's the difference. Nice people never confront evil, especially in themselves. Good people do. Nice people are weak. Good people are strong. Jesus wasn't nice. He was kind. He was compassionate. He was caring. But more, he was unbending and unflinching when it came to standing up for the truth. And it cost him his life. Amen.